you are exposed. So that's why you take that loan signing fee, $70,000. By all means, I always open up to my investors, say, you want to be on the loan with me? I'll love to split that, $35,000. Then their assets, their home and everything else is open as well. My goal is to maximize rent. I'm trying to get this property to $80,000. We raised probably about half of it. We need to raise about, I think it's like 9 or 11 million. I think we have about half of it right now.
What is up, you guys? Good news, we got another Casey video, so smash that like button, hit the subscribe button if you somehow haven't found my channel, haven't found Casey. But honestly, in this video, he dives deep into his business structure. I absolutely love it. He's going to share with us the actual percentages he charges and gives out to his investors. And yeah, he charges them to actually find deals, but he does pay out returns to his investors. Anyways, he gets so deep into his business structure. This is honestly a masterclass in business. And then later on, he actually starts giving advice on how to team up, start attracting investors. He even talks about a deal he's got under contract right now for $15 million. You guys, this is insane. This stuff barely happens in real life. I'm so excited and so happy to be able to share with you guys what Casey's doing. It's absolutely amazing. Anyways, again, smash that like button if you love what we're doing with Casey. We got more Casey videos coming in the near future. We also got more episodes of the Matt McKeever Show. So if you guys haven't checked that out, definitely check it out. Otherwise, I'm just going to hand things off to Casey. Let's get into it.
Do you mind kind of breaking down for us with your investors and stuff? You're obviously actively managing, like, do you take a wage or a fee for that?
Yeah, so it's an LPGP structure. We take a property management fee. I do take 4%, okay? I think it's fair because I still have to put bread on the table. So something like this, I'll take 4%. I'll also take an asset management fee because, it's an asset management fee because my wife has to put the deal together. This is more in the States. Very structured really nicely in Canada. People don't really, some people are still like JVs or whatever, right? We also take a loan signing fee, which in the States, a lot of people do that. What I mean by a loan signing fee, it's a 1% on the loan. So on a $7 million, I'm gonna take $70,000 right off the bat. When we close, $70,000, it's for me because I took the risk. Actually, all my assets, like my home, my Elgin Street property, those are all open to liability, right? Because I collateralize a lot of my assets together. And it's very normal. A lot of people, I try to lend money out to another person and they don't want to collateralize. They don't want to put their home. They're like, I'm not going to lend to you, right? But I do it in my loans to the bank. I do that, right? Like when I got this property, they actually put my home, which I live at, and my Elgin Street property because I own that 100%, right? So you are exposed. So that's why you take that loan signing fee, $70,000. By all means, I always open up to my investors, say, you want to be on the loan with me? I'll love to split that, $35,000. Then their assets, their home and everything else is open as well. If they want to do that, I'm all open. Like if they want to take the full mortgage, by all means, they can take that $70,000. Now I don't have my nothing is exposed, right? So you can always, when you're playing with the bigger players, when you're in these bigger apartment buildings, you have to know that space, right? So that's the space we're in. My investors are not on the loan. They don't write any of the loans. They don't. So hey, it's comfortable for them, right? In a way, they only put $100,000 in, right? They get the returns that they want, okay? In a building of this size, and then we grow together, right?
So do you have agreements in place if one of them decides to liquidate, or?
Yeah, for sure. We do have, they have to find another investor to take their place, or we could take it as well. So I don't know, again, that's a question for my wife. My wife doesn't really do a lot of this. She deals specifically with investors. She finds good partners as well. I do too. So we're out there hustling, finding money, finding investors. But yeah, that's
the general principle is they have to replace themselves.
That's right. It's not like an open market where, hey, you know what? You just go, whatever. You're on the internet and you want to trade a trade a stock, right? you quickly find on the open market where you can flip it out, right? It's not like this. This is real estate. It's going to be the transaction time and cost is going to be a lot longer and harder and more costly.
And so, like, I'm just kind of curious, either back in the day when you were building your portfolio or even today, do you guys set goals, like as far as like, we're going to acquire X number of units? No.
My wife had goals. Like, she's very aggressive. I don't know if I told you this, right? I'm very passive. I'm very risk averse. All right, when I see a property like this, I tell her, like, she sends me out. My wife go, hey, this property, numbers looks good. Go take a look at it. And I can say, hey, this is bad, this is not good, whatever. And I'll tell her exactly, and then we analyze it together, right? I say it's going to be $24,000 for the balcony. It's going to be $30,000, and then we analyze it. Sorry, what your question was?
Yeah, just if you guys set goals.
Oh, set goals. So, yeah. So she had a goal at the beginning. I don't have any goals. One of my friends asked me, "Do you have any goals?" I go, "No, dude, I have no goals. I don't care how many units I buy, but my goal is this." My goal is to maximize the rent. So I thought about it because I was, I drive around a lot and drink coffee. That's what my kids say. I don't do anything. I just drive around and drink coffee all day. But I thought about this. Do I have a goal? My goal is to maximize rent. I'm trying to get this property to $80,000. I believe it's about $80,000. If I calculate 65 units times minimum $1,200, about 12. I think it's $1,225. If I multiply, I think it's about 80,000, 78,000 or something. That's my goal. Okay. If I get it to 78,000 from $65,000 right now, I think it's about 63. Let's say 63 or 65, and I jump it up to 78. That's just pure cash flow, right? So each time somebody turns over, that's cash flow. That's my goal.
So how do you decide when you should buy another property? Like, why do you decide let's buy it if you don't necessarily if you guys aren't setting goals? Yeah.
So again, my wife would take a look at the deals. It goes through her desk, right? I particularly don't like it. I don't like looking at the deals. Like, every deal to me doesn't look like it's worth it because I bought it for 107. They're selling at 157 per unit now. That's crazy. I would never buy it. But when you look back at it, you know what? Even 10 years from now, 20 years from now, it does make sense, right? Even if you bought a little, that's a little high. But the goal is this, is that it just goes through my wife's desk. It's like, if it looks good, it looks good. We're actually doing a deal right now in Niagara Falls. It's right across from Embassy Suites, okay? Right walking distance to the falls, okay? So you can literally walk 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes, like 3 minutes, you'll fall in. 5 minutes, you're in the falls, right? So you can walk. There's a roadway in right now on that piece of property, and there's a Zappy's Pizza. So we're working on that deal right now. We secured it. We're looking for investors. We raised probably about half of it. We need to raise about, I think it's like 9 or 11 million. I think we have about half of it right now. And we're closing shortly. We bought it for about 15. We bought it for 15 million. So we firmed on 15. Across the street from that, there's a Loretto buildings. There's 3 buildings there. That sold for 60 million, I think, 60 or 65 million. All right, for 3 buildings. So we have 1 building, we got 15 million. Across the street, there's a Crown Plaza that transacted for 25 million. Right. So sometimes I say these millions, like 15 million. He's like, damn, that sounds expensive, right? I know you're smiling, Matt. 50 million is expensive, right? But you got to take a look at overall. Is it really worth it? 60 or 65 million for those 3 buildings or something. There's another 25 million. So taking a look at that, I might be a hotel owner, right? Or I might flip it, right? I don't know. So goals, you know what? We look at deals. We don't look at necessarily goals. We look at, hey, if this deal makes sense, do we have investors behind us? It may make sense, right? And then we just go for it.
And then, so do you mind walk us through the process then? Because I think a lot of people will be really interested. So is it often you find the opportunity, start trying to tie it up, and then start looking for investors?
Yeah, that's what we usually do. We would tie up the building. We do a due diligence. We have some investors that seem interested, and that's what we do. It's tough going to the investor without anything. Sometimes you say, hey, investor, can you invest like 2 million or 1 million? And the investor goes, hey, what am I investing in? Oh, nothing yet, right? It's hard. You can't really do that. Sometimes you do have to tie it up. So if you have the money first, if you have everything, you can hold it, secure it, almost like close it, and then get the investors in, right? You can do that, a little bit safer, but then now you still have the money, and then you can sort of snowball and take that money out and then put it back into another property, right? You can do that. That's definitely safer, but then you have to have that money, right?
And so oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, how long in general do you have to kind of raise this money?
It depends. So in this building, the Guelph owner, I extended it. I'm not sure if I paid. It was 100,000. I think it was only 2 or 3 times. I think it went to the deposit. Now, if it goes to the deposit, essentially goes to the building, right? So it's 7 million. I'll put in 300. Let's say 300,000, right? So it's 400, and it raised up to 500,000. If I walked away, he gets that 500,000, right? So I walked away, he gets 500,000, right? How long? It's usually, I think it's 60 days. I think it's 45 or 60. Again, that's a question for my wife. I think it's 45. It depends on what you negotiate, right? The bigger the deals, sometimes it could take a little bit longer. Sometimes if it's very tight in that market, and you have to close quick, the seller needs the money, it could be 30 days. It could be selling instead of that 15 million or 7 million here, it could be 6 million. And if it's a 6 million, that makes sense and you want to quickly close, right? So it depends. It depends on the deal. Everything is very deal dependent, property specific. Everything's going to be unique to that specific area, specific property.
This is kind of switching topics,
Yeah.
but I don't know if you'd be interested, but I know people will be fascinated in, like, you kind of touched upon it. Sounds like your biggest mistake was Hamilton.
Yeah.
Is that something you'd be willing to share with us?
Yeah, of course.
People love hearing about the mistakes.
Yeah.
Too, because
Yeah. So mistakes. What I did was I bought in a rough neighborhood in Hamilton. I bought in 2005, Main and Gage, and these properties were in rough shape. Tenants were rough. Some of them were, or most of them were on assistance. So this is OW and ODSP. OW meaning Ontario Works. It's essentially welfare, and ODSP, Ontario Disability Support Program. Nothing wrong with that. I do actually have some tenants on assistance, but they just never paid. They were just, I don't know what Hamilton was or what I was doing wrong. I corrected it now, but what I did was the tenants, I bought in a bad location, tenants weren't paying, and I kept on kicking them out. They're professional tenants. They'll be on direct payment, and then essentially I put them in, the direct payment, 2 months later, they're off a direct payment. I was like, what's going on here? It kept on happening. And these are the tenant profile I kept on getting. So I almost had to take them because I was bleeding. I sold my RSPs just to pay the gas. The gas prices were so high. Property tax in Hamilton is very high. I don't know if you guys do your research, but Hamilton's property tax is as high as Orangeville. Orangeville and Hamilton is one of the highest property tax per capita in Ontario. So taking a look at that, Hamilton, those 3 buildings on Main and Gage, compared that to my chapel in Kitchener, on Chapel Street in Kitchener, significantly higher. So ate into my cash flow. Added to that, they were steam boilers. I don't know if you know about steam boilers. So going back, tenants weren't paying, whatever. Getting a lot of rough tenants, they weren't paying, they're damaging my units, and plus they're steam boilers. Steam boilers is this, it's not hot water, but steam. So it wasn't hot water running through the pipes, there's steam. So I have to heat the water up to at least 100 degrees, right? What's that?
You gotta boil it.
Yeah, you gotta boil it, but this is a steam boiler.
Yeah.
So I had to really heat up that water to create that steam, to heat up the units, and no matter what, I had to get to that temperature. Even in the springtime, so early fall, even spring, I'm cranking it up. And there's no way to turn it down. Because if I don't get up to boiling point, at 50, like I only need 10 degrees, or outside is only 8, but it's uncomfortable. So I can't get it up to, I have to get it up, I can't put it at 50 degrees. Because there's no steam at 50 degrees, I have to get it at 100. And I'm smoking these guys out, the poor tenants, like I'm smoking these guys out it's 10 degrees outside, maybe a spring warm up at 14 degrees, 15 degrees, right, Celsius? And I'm at 100 degrees on my steam boiler. So I was like, never again would I buy a steam boiler system. It's like, then you have to change everything. You have to change the steam boilers to regular hot water boiler. You have to change all the rads, do all that. So that was a real pain. And my expenses on that was nowhere near that 40%. If you're running about 40%, it's good, like 38, 30, like high 30%, that's good. Not only that, it's like the added legal costs, like my costs going to the sheriff and all of that, no rent collections for those 2 months, it was a real burden. So that's why your location, your geographic location is crucial. That's why I kept on saying is like, you know what, pick your right location. Don't necessarily look at, oh, okay, well, this Nunavut is great. It's in Northwest Territories, it's gonna be, what, $20,000 per unit, great, right? But your tenant profile is gonna be, you know, not as nice. So expect that. If you're buying per unit and it's cheap, there's a reason why it's gonna be cheap. It's probably gonna be cheap for a very long time. So just be cognizant of what you're doing, what you're getting into, because buying cheap is not necessarily buying good.
So with hindsight, do you know, like, were you able to identify maybe why that property ended up not being bad? Like, were you extra excited at that time? Were you trying to force the deal?
Yeah, no, purchase price is amazing. So when I looked at it, I bought that 8 unit on Main Street for $284,000, I think. Imagine that, an 8 unit for $284,000, $286,000, right?
Yeah.
So, and what is it? A 9 unit? No, is it 2 8s? I bought the other one for $299 on Main and Gage. I bought another one for the 11 unit at $432. So imagine those prices, right? They were crazy cheap. I go, I can do this. I bought Kitchener and I had some people on assistance. It's great. This is pretty much it.
Yeah. Cool.
Right?
Awesome.
Management office is there. They drop off checks. I tried to maximize it with lockers. It didn't seem like it was going to work. But overall, very, very simple, nice and clean. And that's how you just bring up the building, right? And that's it. That's it. Stabilize it, hold it. We always have a 5-year hold period, 2 years of no cash flow to the investors. And then afterwards, after the 5 years, we have either a refi, a sell. I think those are the 2 options, right? That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the 2 options. And then, hey, you want to sell it? Let's sell it, buy something else, refinance it, give the money back to you, because the investors want to see the money. 5 years, for me, it's not long. For them, it's eternity, right? 5 years, like, you held my money for 5 years. Dude, I want to see my 12% rate of return. It's like, okay, well, here you go, Mr. Investor. The investors, you have to, I respect them, because they put their money in, they trusted you, but you have to show them the money. Once you show them the money, it's a relief for them, because they can see that you worked hard for their money and they're getting their money back plus return. So show them the money, show your investors, make sure you take care of them. They are the ones that's bringing you up, right? They are the ones that's going to bring your portfolio, elevate you to a level that you probably wouldn't be able to do yourself. So you know what, to be honest with you, team up, partner up, right? Get your investors, collaborate. That's how you seriously build up, right? It's tough. When I first started, it's hard finding the right people, finding the right partners, because we find partners that say, hey, I'm gonna be your partner. I'm gonna find money for you. I'm gonna do this. It's like, I had people like seriously drop down in 2 months, right? Oh, how are you fundraising? How are you doing this? Oh, I'm doing some of this other side thing, right? So people say that they're gonna do things. It doesn't always pan out. So make sure that, you know, the people that you get, you're comfortable with. Like, you guys seem like you have a good team. Like, I'm not saying team up, right? But like, you know, if you're able to find something bigger, that's something that is very, very valuable. And it's like, I don't know if this is off the record, but a lot of people don't work well together. When you work well together and you can team up, you can buy that bigger building. You can buy that 10-plex, the 100-plex, 200-plex. You're not gonna buy the single-family homes, right? So always here's a tidbit of information, is that work well together. Make sure, don't be greedy, okay? So this is a little tip from this old 43-year-old, is that don't be greedy, work well together. And you know what, end of the day, like, I gave back the money to my investors because I lost that shitload, 400K, 200 for me and 200 for the investors. There's always money out there, right? You can always earn it back, right? So take care of yourself, make sure that you collaborate and work well as a team and try to get at something bigger. That's my, if I was gonna do it differently, that's something that I would try to do. Like that's a good learning lesson. That 400,000, like that 1 year of like just burning that money. Like you put a little bonfire and just let a little match to it. 400K. It's like it's an experience that you know what you can't really learn, right? So that's something that hey, for what it is, I learned it. 400K. If I didn't learn it then, if I learned it when I was 65, big problem. That 400 maybe is 400 million or 4 million or whatever. All these properties. So I'm glad I learned it that back then when I was young.
Yeah.
I guess just before we wrap up, like any tips for people on maybe red flags when they're looking at investors, like that maybe, oh, that person isn't a team player or they're not on the same page, or how do you make sure that the investor's on the same page as you?
These investors are always silent investors. We're the active investors. And a lot of these investors, they don't know this gig of property management, buying properties. It's really, they're good at what they do. They're good at, I have an investor that does apps. I'm not gonna say specifically what. Excuse me, they do apps. And they make a shitload of money, right? But you want hands-off investors. Like I don't want an investor coming, hey, I'm another property manager and I'm gonna tell you what to do, right? It's like, no, this floor should be pink because there's, we have to be whatever, gender neutral, or I don't know what. It shouldn't be gray, it should be purple, right? With polka dots or something. Like, I don't want that headache. My investors are passive. They know what they want to get into. They have a successful business or they're professional. And yeah, those are the people I'm looking for, right? It's, I do respect them. They work hard for the money. And they want a good return. So you have to deliver a good return to them. It's not going to be a home run. It's not going to be like 100% rate of return over just 1 year and every year for the next 10 years. It's not like that. Real estate is a very stable, consistent, I like to say, well, investment. It's a game in a way, in a game, right? But it's seriously, it's 8 to 12%. If you can, 8 to 12%. That's a good rate of return. It's solid. I can do more, I can do better, but I never promise them anything more. You under promise, over deliver, right?
Perfect.
Yeah. Cool.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Thanks again to Casey. That was absolutely fantastic. It's just amazing. This stuff doesn't happen in real life, but we're so thankful that Casey's willing to take the time and the energy to let us document what he's up to. Smash that like button if you enjoy what we're doing with Casey. Otherwise, definitely make sure you jump over, watch the playlist we have with Casey. Yes, we now have over 2 hours of pure Casey content for you guys to enjoy. So I hope you love that. Otherwise, until next time, remember, making money is a team sport. There's more than enough money in this world for us to all make it, but if you're not saving it, I mean, like, what's the point? Thanks, guys. Bye.